Making t-shirts with infusible inks is such a simple project that even beginners can feel confident using this material. Today we're going to start out by heading over to Creative Fabrica, which is my favorite place. If you've been here before, you know this already, where I like to get all of my fonts and my images and graphics. They have so many different things here that you can find just about anything. I actually prefer to use the all access subscription with Creative Fabrica over the Cricut access because I just find it's a lot more available in here, and I can also use these in different programs. So for me, I like to design a lot of things in Canva first, and then I move them around, and eventually it might end up over at the Cricut design space where I cut things out. But as you can see here, this is so much easier because you can download it and use it wherever you want. And they also have different classes that you can take when you want to learn or improve a skill that you might be working on. And then they also have things like these different areas where they have like shape clouds and these font clouds. Font cloud is where you can store your fonts, and the shape cloud is taking a shape and adding text to it into that shape. But one of their newest features that they have is their Spark Studio, because that is included in that all access monthly subscription, which is super cheap. And I think that $47 a year is totally worth it for what you all get. So yeah, they always have good deals going, and I'll leave a link down below so you can go check that out if you haven't already subscribed, so you can see what they all have included in here. And if you would like to see a tutorial on how to use that Creative Fabrica Studio and how you can create project inside of there, then just drop it down in the comments and I would be happy to make a tutorial for you on that, because there are a lot of options and possibilities within that feature. Now, if you are new here, hello, welcome. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming tutorials that we do on all craft things. And let's get started now by looking up in the search bar here for Spring Vibes, because that is the shirt that we are going to do today. And as you can see, there are so many options in here, which is again why I love Creative Fabrica so much. But we are going to come back up here and just pick one that looks to be what I would need for cutting this out. And when you're looking at the different options, you want to make sure you have the SVG if it's going to be a cut file, or a PNG if you're going to do something like sublimation where you actually print this out. So this has the SVG, which means this is a cut file. And then for future reference, if you scroll down below, you can see where it has the instructions to make sure that it's compatible with a Cricut or a Silhouette if that is what you are using for cutting out your product. So today we are using the Infusible Ink transfer sheets. So that is what we will need to know that this will work in our Cricut. Now we are going to go over here and hit download, and as you can see, I've already downloaded this one. So we are going to pull this up from our download folder and head over to the Cricut design space. Now we are here in Cricut design space, and we are going to select a new project to open up a blank canvas. Down on the left-hand side, you will see all your different options there for adding to your project. We are going to go to Upload. Now to upload your image, you would click on the Upload Image and then find it in your computer files, and then walk through the steps. Sorry, I had this already downloaded. I should have done it again to show you. Again, drop it in the comments if you need to know how to do that. I will explain it. But here is where, when I uploaded the files, it had different options for ungrouped and grouped SVGs. Now we wanted the ungrouped one because we want to be able to take this apart. These are some of the little cards that I made in that studio. So here we have our Spring Vibes file that is now in our design space. Obviously, this is way too big for a t-shirt, and today I will be using an Easy Press 2 for heating this onto the shirt. So I need to make this smaller than what my press is, and I only have the 9x9 Cricut Heat Press 2 or Easy Press 2. So I'm going to make this about 8.5 inches wide. And this, because it's locked up in the top bar here, it will keep that the height the same so that it's all stays in the right kind of dimensions. But you can come up here also and type in the exact dimensions that you would like, and then remember to lock it again. Now with this, because I'm using infusible inks, I do not want to piece together all different colors. So I'm actually going to take this and separate it, ungroup it, and change it all to one color so that I can cut it out in one piece for the spring. Now coming over to the side on the right, I'm going to click these two squares and hit ungroup. And now you can see I have all different layers. These pieces are all apart. Now this one has this outline edge around it, which I do not really want to use with the infusible ink. If you were going to be cutting this out of like heat transfer vinyl, you could use that and say, you know, cut it out of a different color. That would be fine, but I'm going to hide that one because I do not want to cut that this time. Now highlighting, so you click your mouse and hold it and drag it over all the pieces you want. I'm going to grab all of the letters in spring and I'm going to come down to the bottom and hit attach. Now that will change it all to one color. And it is attached now into one piece again, so that when this is sent to the mat, the pieces will be exactly where I want them and they won't be all separated. Now heading over to uncheck the outline of the vibes as well. I don't want that to be cut out. I just hid that, and now I am ready to send this to the Cricut. Now checking my mat because I have a Cricut Explorer 2 and I need a mat for that. You can see here spring is all together one piece, vibes is still all one piece, and when you are using infusible inks you need to mirror your images just like you would with iron-on. So make sure you click every mat that you have. It doesn't automatically select all of them, and then hit continue. Now, this is where I'm not actually connected to my machine right now because I'm in a different room, but it will pull up your options for the material, and you will want to search out the material called Infusible Ink Transfer Sheets. And you will click on that and it is going to cut it out perfectly, and you can weed it, which you don't actually weed it, but you pull it and crack it apart. And now we are ready to get our shirt pulled together. I have my infusible ink cut out, and then I have a shirt here that I got off at Amazon. It's a Hanes Cool Dry. It's 100% polyester, which you want a high polyester count on your shirts or whatever material you are using. To prep the shirt, we are going to take our heat press that is heated up to 385, and we are just going to run this over the shirt a few times just for a few seconds to get out any of the moisture. And then what we are going to do is grab a lint roller and run it over the shirt as well. You just want to make sure that there aren't any fuzzies or any lint on there, maybe cat hair. And then we are almost ready to press this. But before we do that, we want to add a piece of cardstock in between the layers of the shirt. And then we are also going to insert the pressing pillow or the heat press mat in between that as well, underneath that cardstock. And what this does is protects the mat and the back of the shirt from any ink that might go through that first top layer of the shirt. Now, you really want to make sure you protect all of your surfaces well when working with infusible ink or sublimation, because that ink will stain anything else that it gets on. So I have ink stuck to all sorts of things because I did not have it properly protected. But here I have our design that we're going to be putting on our shirt today. When I tried to find the center of my design, I kind of line up the edges of the design itself and put a little crease in the carrier sheet. And that is what I have done up here. That way you can kind of find the center of that transfer. And then I use my 3 fingers down rule from the top of the collar. Now because this is a V-neck, it's a little bit easier to find the center of the shirt. But if this was a regular t-shirt, like a crew neck, then I would fold the shirt in half and iron like a little crease down the middle of the shirt. And that just helps you to line everything up. Grabbing a piece of butcher paper or a Teflon sheet, we are going to now cover this up again so that we protect the heat press from any ink that might get through the carrier sheet. And we are going to press this at 385 for 40 seconds. Now with infusible ink, you want to make sure, along with sublimation, that you hold this very still. Now with my press here, I don't know if it's a defect or what, but I don't feel that it gives great heat consistently all the way through, so I press it pretty hard. But you want to hold it still, and then when your time is up, you want to carefully lift it straight up so that you're not shifting around that infusible ink sheet. Because what that could do is cause a ghosting effect, which is kind of like fuzzy lines around your design, and nobody wants that. So after this is cooled down for a few seconds, as you can see, it's already ready to be lifted up. I just pull off that carrier sheet, and as you can see, this turned out amazing. I love the colors of this pink. It was like a watercolor technique on this infusible ink. And like I said before, I'll have all this stuff linked down below so you can see what I'm using. But I love infusible ink because it stretches with your shirts. And if you have kids like me who love to pick all things vinyl, this has been a lifesaver. I can make her shirts and I know she can't destroy it. As you can see, infusible ink is so easy to work with and a very beginner-friendly product. If you need more ideas on how to use infusible ink, watch this video that's coming up next.